from the mates on Facebook and on Skype that our videos were some of the most telling.
Yeah, good. Well, this is going to be a classic.
You bet.
Did you want to get a screenshot?
Yeah, I've just turned my camera on, so I'll just take a. Yeah, that's John Paterson that I've done all the work with on the false religion. Paterson with one T, that leads to the launch of all the corrupted sheriffdom in my region.
Oh, George, hang on a sec. We've got that whole problem back where you're fading in and out.
Okay, it's only when I touch on sensitive things. When I made the Field McConnell video, he made it at his end, and it only happens, because of the Intel invasion. Bloody hell, have you joined the Scottish clans? Where did you get the trousers?
I'm just checking. I was just checking to see if the camera was okay. No, I've still got my pyjamas on.
Oh, rather pyjamas. I thought you had become a Scottish loyalist.
No, I get periods where I just can't sleep and I have to work it through,
Right.
Don't forget, we've got the referendum coming up.
Yeah, it's all a cover, and I'm delighted that you're playing your part in the news revelations. But Tony Blair, it's on the Little Sis website in America. Tony Blair and Henry Kissinger, along with Lord Kerrigan-Lockhart, who we've talked about a lot. He's the Granton on Space scamster, former boss at Imperial College London.
Yeah.
So I'll put some pictures up on my computer now, and I'm going to start with that one that has been banned. Did you have a look at the pictures on my web page?
Well, listen, George. The picture you just sent me, I've actually posted on Facebook. Now, the last time I posted that, I got blocked, but it doesn't matter.
So they took the whole of my Facebook page down.
I told people on Facebook that after posting this image, I'll probably get blocked.
So can we just together describe what is on that image?
Sure.
And I'm not sure where our little chat is that we've just had, where we sent the picture. How do I get the chat up into the?
It's on the right-hand box. That little.
Okay, so can you see at that resolution what the search term was that I used to get those pictures of the naked penis of Prince Harry? Yeah, all of it was.
Well, it was just a simple Google search.
Yeah,
that's what you done.
And I can't remember what it was. I think it was Prince Harry scud naked, and there are dozens and dozens of images, all published by Rupert Murdoch, whose daughter is in the Chip and Norton set, defrauding the whole of our country. Yeah, and because of Greg Hallett's work, the illegitimacy of the British Royals that both of us have been persecuted for trying to tell for the last 2 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, and all of it now. You also know the history of the 7/7 bombings.
Yep.
What did Prince Harry do immediately after our revelations that Cressida Dick was the Met Police woman who murdered the victims in the subway? What did he do at that point in time to cover up the massive terror threat that sent us into the war in the Middle East?
Go on.
Yeah, he started to date a lady called Cressida.
Cressida, he did.
Yeah, and all of it is the royals' role in the covering up of the illegitimacy of their ancient ancestors and the deployment of the Rothschilds' breeding chambers, in the rape and pillaging of Queen Victoria. 9 of Queen Victoria's children were Rothschild bastards. You know that story?
Yeah, only one was born in wedlock by blind Prince George of Cumberland or Cumbria.
Cumbria and Teviotdale. It's much more close to my home than I ever suspected. Yeah, and when I revealed the crimes of blind Prince George of Cumbria and Teviotdale, which is Hawick, they had lottery winners in Hawick, and all of the false news kicks in. So the headlines there is here it is, because they will take this down if I show the image graphically on any sort of scale. It's already been taken down on my website. Did you go to that page on my website?
I haven't been there yet, George, because listen, mate, first time I've spoken to you in over 12 months?
That's right, yeah.
No, they keep blocking me on Facebook, and Senior Master Fontaine has threatened to issue me with a restraining order. But we know she's a...
I've got a lifelong gagging order. Don't worry about it, John. Just ignore it. They don't have the...
I do. I just ignore it. Exactly.
So my wife, who works for Chipping Norton, yeah, that's the people that censor all of this. That is Rupert Murdoch's staff, led by Rebecca Brooks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you understand the Rebecca Brooks jokes. Did you know that the Innsbruck joke about the birthplace of Jesus?
Hitler.
Yeah, it's Hitler's birthplace, it's Pope Benedict's birthplace, and it is the birthplace for many of the Scottish people who are aristocrats and massive hotel owners that were inmates in Colditz for profiteering reasons.
This is fantastic, George, because do you know what? Since we last spoke, I've had thousands of extra Facebook friends now, so nobody knows about your cutting edge research.
So
this is going to give my recent friends...
Do you understand that Hannah Mary Rothschild, is now Mrs. Brookdale?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's the world's biggest secret, because that is the Rothschilds that run all wars, all sides, and I've got a writ from them, and the police in Charing Cross in London have tried to convict me for harassing the
George, listen, I've got to tell you something now.
Yeah, go on.
My lawyer, I've got to tell you who he is. I can let a lot more stuff out.
I think you have. He's a coloured bloke, I think.
No, he's not. No.
Or it's a different one.
No. Listen, George, it's very important. When they threatened to section you, I showed him the emails and the information, and he wrote a proposal. Now, fortunately, in the end, you didn't need it. But listen,
no, but they did section me. They did not just threaten to do it. They did it. They saw it through. But because I revealed all of the scams of the doctors who were policemen before they did it, and they did it on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen, because I wrote to her just 2 weeks before they made the lethal visits that got me committed to intramuscular injections for the rest of my life. Lost my right to work, lost my right to drive. All of it is to cover up the illegitimacy of the Queen.
Right, I can tell you now, my lawyer's looked over your stuff, and he can help you in more ways than you can imagine. I'm going to tell you how. Tony Blair got the Secret Services to break into the courts and steal all the files on him. Now, fortunately...
But that's old news. Tony Blair was the Prime Minister, right?
I know it's old news, but this is relevant today, because David Cameron is now managing the remedies. Now, listen. When my lawyer exposed Tony Blair, he was given two choices. He took the first choice, which was 10 months to step down from Prime Minister, in exchange for immunity and remedying the frauds. Now then, David Cameron is now managing those remedies. This is how big it is. This is a Royal Commission.
But all of that's been published by both of us for a decade now.
George,
that's the Gordon Brown EU scams. All of it is just scams to cover the real news that you and I talk about. That's the false religion and the massive crimes of the Rothschilds in everything they touch. They're the owners of Rio Tinto. No one's allowed to know that. They pay no taxes for Rio Tinto, and my wife is a Hancock's.
Right,
yeah, that is Lang Hancock's, who runs Rio Tinto and is on the Forbes rich list to avoid the Rothschild family having to pay taxes on the massive income on the ownership of all of their colonies.
George, listen, I've got to explain something, and I've been trying to explain people like this, so I'm blue in the face. Everybody knows about the fraud and corruption. It's not a secret. We've provided evidence to the National Union of Journalists and in his lot of private eye. Everybody knows about
it. He's a quisling. He's got the word Pizzo in his name.
Let me finish, George. Please let me finish. Everybody knows about the fraud and corruption. What we have been asked to do is provide the remedies. I have got thousands of files which have been stamped in the Royal Courts of Justice, Blackfriars Court, Lewis Crown Court, 10 copies of each, so they can't lose any files. This is the first time in history. We were only given this power last autumn. It goes back to 1687. It's the old law which gives the citizen, in inverted commas, higher jurisdiction than the courts and the judges, providing they're servicing the Royal Commission. So what's happening with us? We've been asked to do this. We've provided the evidence.
By whom? That's the royals that are illegitimate for 165 years.
It's a Royal Commission. I don't know where it comes from, but we've got the backing of the Lord Bishops and Lord Archbishops.
In false religion.
Whatever you want to
Yeah, in genocidal false religion.
Yeah. I'm telling you now, George, what is going on as we speak, right? We've served papers on Sussex Police Crime Commissioner, and let me just read this. Do
you know about the Dukes of Arundel's crimes?
This is a warning, George. This is a warning to the National Union of Journalists. And this is at the end of a claim form for £10 billion. Listen to this. Special notice that the corruption claim case management records for all parties, including the National Union of Journalists, are relevant evidence, and failure to preserve it will pervert justice and be criminal contempt. What we're saying to the National Union of Journalists is this: unless you expose this news to the public, we will serve you with papers for perverting the courts of justice, and we can do it legally, George.
And you think Ian Hislop's going to do that for you?
I don't give a shit about Ian Hislop, George.
Yeah, he's massive mobster. He's just a mafia op.
George, I don't care about Ian Hislop or any of these other people. We know we're getting inside help from the courts. They've managed to reverse the corrupt lawyers, right? You had 90% of the lawyers were corrupt. The 10% that were there that were honest were debarred, same as my lawyer. What they've managed to do is reverse it. Now, there's only a handful of corrupt lawyers left, but they've got a lot of power.
Not in Scotland. The whole of the Law Society in Scotland is just a money laundering operation.
Yeah, well, they all.
And that's why they dare not confront me in the courts.
But listen, George, we've finally broken their confidence. Now listen to this. On the 29th of June, I go into court with my lawyer with evidence, and it's going to be a court of record, and it's the end. That is it, finished. The whole house of cards is collapsing. End of story.
And who's the commander-in-chief of this cabal that is running the world?
There's several of them. Listen.
Who are the most influential?
My court was the 2nd of June. 2 magistrates failed to turn up. They've adjourned it now till after the referendum, and if they dare fudge the figures like they did with the Scottish referendum, there'll be thousands of people going to prison for perverting the course of justice. We have all the names, George. This is public now. And did you know we were also inside the BBC with a hidden camera?
Yeah, I got all that news. Yeah.
So no one can deny it. And I don't care about Ian Hislop or all these other puppets. I don't care about them.
The BBC is run by a man called Lord Paterson, who died or has been taken out of the public eye in 2014, when I published the 10-minute video on his crimes with the Royal Prince. Yeah, all of the BBC is corrupted. That is Hislop, and all of the jokes about all of the political movements. The only thing that the Brexit thing is covering is the illegitimacy of the Crown, the massive money laundering frauds of our government, and you and I have made videos on those which are really objective. They've got all the director numbers for the fraudsters, and I've now got the Rothschilds links right in Austria, right back to the Tyrol Wars in 1914 that killed all of the Scotsmen. Yeah, all of it is run out of Austria and Bavaria, and that's where Henry Kissinger comes from. And he's on the future of the EU Commission with Tony Blair and Lord Kerr of Kinlochar. And Greg Hallett told me that he was the world's biggest killer, and I believe him. He runs Mossad since 1946. He's a Peace Prize winner like Obama, and all of them are just sad bastards.
Yeah, well, it was Kissinger that put the order out to murder Christopher Story. Christopher Story done stuff on EU corruption. It's on YouTube.
Right.
He was behind that. In fact, he was...
So can I just remind the readership why my videos and the images of the naked Prince Harry are being censored everywhere on the internet? Yeah, it's the story about Jack the Ripper that Greg Hallett told the world. It's been published. That is Prince Eddie, who was taken from being the next in line for the Windsor throne and taken to Glamis Castle, where he spent the rest of his life. The In Hell movie that was made by Johnny Depp, who's an elite member of the same bloodlines as Her Royal Highness the Poppos of Windsor, yeah, they are in the massive lineage that has the American presidents FDR, Eisenhower, Roosevelt. All of them are Freemasons. None of the American presidents have been a woman yet. Yeah, and all of that is covered by crimes of the reporters in Britain that you're trying to use to expose it. So have you heard of Gavin and Stacey?
Yep.
What was their surname?
Oh. Yeah, go on.
Shipman. Have you heard of Shipman, the serial killer?
Arthur Shipman, wasn't it?
Have you heard of Tim Shipman?
Tim Shipman.
Yeah, you're talking to the world's journalists. Tim Shipman, this is one of the world's biggest secrets, was the war correspondent for Iraq.
Ah.
Yeah, and when you look at the images of Shipman the serial killer, it's just a fucking actor. It is the man that died last year. God has got them in a state of panic. It is the man that was in the Jumanji film, I forget his name.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams it's the actor that played Shipman, to demonise the whole of British healthcare and to send all of those doctors that tried to section me into a corrupt sector that means that 40% of their six-figure salary comes from giving too many drugs to their patients to prevent the serial killing incidents. Yeah, and all of them are members of royal societies, and the royals are the biggest criminals on the globe, with the exception of the Rothschilds who sired them. Yeah, so
it's beyond belief that patients are going to doctors and being poisoned just so the doctors can make their salaries up.
Well, that's right. They get
100 grand.
They get 40 grand of their 100 grand salary basics. And have you seen all of the news about the strikes in healthcare? All of the poor sectors have their pay frozen all of the time, like the public sector employees. Our world is in a sovereign debt crisis, and you're not an accountant, nor am I, but both of us understand that when you have a balance sheet, you have debtors and creditors. But in the global leadership team, we do not have that. All of their countries are in sovereign debt crisis. None of them are in the black. Yeah, all of them are mafia ops, and all of it is in their suitcases as they attend the Davos conferences in Bavaria, which is the homeland for the Rothschilds when they were called the Bears. Did you know that?
Yes.
So that's the Bavarian master race, the B-Aryans, that is the life of Brian. And you and I understand all of those jokes, yet that take us into World War I and the Gallipoli conflict, where Mr. Bean, who opened the London Olympics, all of that has been taken down off my website. What was the name of the Governor General that shared that joke with the world before they opened the London Olympics?
Oh, it was the New Zealand woman, wasn't it?
That's it. She's Australian.
Australian, yeah.
Her name, she's the Gigi, which is the Piso Bible horse joke, yeah? All of the powerful people all around the world into Arundel in your region, where they sell shares for the cathedral. Yeah, that's the Dukes of Norfolk in fucking Arundel, and I'm their friends now because they're married to Michael Ancram, who's the man that is the Secretary of State for Ireland when they blew up the Chinook. You remember that story, Gordon Bow?
Right, and they found the victims with bullet holes in their heads.
That's it, yeah, brought down by the US Navy SEALs from RAF Machrihinish, which, like all of the Rothschilds' mansions in World War II, has now been bombed or blown up by the army, or bombed by the Air Force. And you remember who the Rothschilds' neighbour was in the Air Force in World War II, don't you?
Go on. Bomber Harris.
Yeah, the Harrises are my former employees. They're the owners of Butlins, and that is the nay donkey joke that Hannah Mary Rothschild uses. Her husband is the world's official secret. His name is Lord Brookdale. Yeah, he is part of that Innsbruck joke about all of the birth of Jesus and no room at the inn. Yeah, and that is Hitler Rothschild. Lincoln was also a Rothschild. And do you know what the Freemasons use as their global icon in the lead up to World War II?
What, you mean the 5 arrows?
No, it's much simpler than that. It was only popular with the world's Freemasons until Hitler Rothschild came along and abused it. Can you guess what it is?
Go on.
The swastika.
Oh, do you know what? I'll tell you a weird thing. I was just looking at a swastika because I posted one on Facebook, and I got blocked from Facebook for posting a swastika, George.
Do you understand the joke? You remember Rolf Harris, the Aryan master race joke?
Yes, Tiny Kangaroo Down Sport.
Yeah. No,
Sir Rolf Harris.
The telling one is the three-legged, I'm Jake the Peg. Yeah, that's the swastika with one limb missing.
Yeah.
The swastika is the symbol for the Irish mummers. And it's the symbol for the white-hatted police on the Isle of Man, is 3 legs dancing in a circle. That is the story of the whole corrupted world. Every one of the wars is for profit, and you and I and Field McConnell understand all of that. Yeah, Field McConnell knows that Ian Fleming is a war criminal. Ian Fleming is Britain's greatest hero. He's a massive fraudster, and Syria is just a cover for Styria in Rothschild's Bavaria.
Wow.
It's all the same fucking joke. Yeah, everything that they do in the Tyrol. There's a movie being made called The World's Last Valley. Yeah, and the valley is called Trins in Austria, which is a joke about Tring in Hertfordshire, where I married the Vash. That's the cow that has deserted me, from Chipping Norton, because she works for the same government that Rupert Murdoch, Elizabeth Murdoch Freud, operates in. She's married to the Freuds. That's why they have control of the Hesses of Hamilton, and they are the people that run NHS Mental Health Scotland. And they changed the laws to allow them to persecute me in the same year that they murdered Greg Hallett when he tried to tell them about the laws of succession and the massive crimes that the Rothschilds committed in Queen Victoria's bedroom. And Queen Victoria was this is a big blockbuster video. Queen Victoria was the first woman in the world to wear a virginal white wedding dress. It's all the same Rothschild joke.
Yes.
And you remember the black and white film that was The House of Rothschild?
Oh, classic. So spot on.
When Nathan got his knighthood, which knee did he go down on?
Was it his left knee?
Yeah, the fascist knee is up in the air like the Sieg Heil signal. And what happened to the colour of the movie when he was knighted?
Oh, he went into colour, didn't he?
Yeah, like the
and it was good colour too.
Yeah, like the little red jokes in Schindler's List. Schindler is a relative of Ike, the American president. Ike, the American president, is related to Oskar Schindler. He's related to Marlene Dietrich, and he's related to several others. He's a close relative of Nixon. He's a close relative of the Ryans, and that is the Rockefeller Rockefeller dynasty that is Tom Hanks, and that's why they make the movie on the beach.
Absolutely fantastic stuff.
It's, you and I can tell the story of the world that is the true story.
Yeah.
And you now know why Prince Harry gets his dick out on screen to cover the crimes of our democracy, in inverted commas. Yeah, I've posted something on Facebook this morning. All of that gets taken down. Yeah, and if you look at that hyperlink I've sent you, it's the story of Jack the Ripper, the grappas of Poppelfield, which is Austrian Bavaria. Yeah, it's right to the east of Frankfurt. Yeah, where the Rothschilds pretend that they had no banking interests after Bomber Harris flattened them for reputational reasons. All of the Judengash jokes are the gassing in the showers jokes in the massive movie that is Schindler's List. And Marlene Dietrich was allowed to leave Germany from the back room. And she became an American citizen, and all of that is the jokes of the Grimm brothers. Yeah, if you look at her cinematic output, as soon as she gets to America, she's a prostitute through all of her life, and she's lovely, and she's got lovely legs and frilly knickers, but the gap between the knickers and her skirt is pyramidal shaped. Yeah, and it leads up to our pi piezo vagina. Yeah, because the pi in American history is the vagina. Yeah, that's why in Jack the Ripper they cut out the fanny. Did you get that?
Yes, of course.
It's the piezo-biblical crimes right into the modern day, and the actress who plays Stacy is Joanna Page. She's beautiful. She's sitting on top of Prince Eddie's dick, prancing around, and she gets arrested by the Metropolitan Police, and the joke is that she gets the lobotomy from the Freemasonic person that plays Bilbo in the Lord of the Rings film. Yeah, and all of it is made to look as if the surgeon does the crime, and all of that is the cover for Prince Eddie's story, and that becomes Shakespeare's output. And where was Shakespeare from?
Stratford-on-Avon, the same place as our mate, what's his name?
The man,
the
Kurdish war criminal. I miss your insight a lot.
No, this is stuff I've learned off of you. It's not mine.
Well, but that's right, but you've learned it, and it's now in your head, and those are the most embarrassing secrets. The world could not read or write up to 1914, and that's Greg Hallett telling those stories about how the power base is run. Homosexuals are picked because the price is that the world is then run in chaos. All of the politicians are now picked for their sexual deviancy. I can name some people in the Borders. That's Norman Pender, local councillor. And he's just a cover for the Pi Pizzos too. I live on an estate called Pinnacle Hill, and that is the Pi Pizzo family icon. The pinnacle is the pyramid, it's the Christmas tree, and the joke is absolutely relentless. The owner, so the title for that page that I've given you is Jack the Ripper Grapes. Because in the Jack the Ripper movie, Johnny Depp, who's a man like me, is addicted to uppers. Do you know what uppers and downers are in the drug sector?
Well, go on. There's various. There's so many.
So he uses absinthe, which is, it blocks inhibition in the brain, and it allows him to be inspirational. It's a French drink from. I'm addicted to coffee, and what he does is.
So we're talking. I live on coffee.
So you're on uppers too. They're stimulants like what Johnny Depp was taking, and he then becomes the most informed detective because he gets hunches about who the criminals are. And you see him on that website that I've just sent to you. You see him gazing at the grapes, and that is the grappas and the poppos of Grapfield. That is Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
She is in the bloodline with FDR, with the Bourbons of Versailles. Yeah, she's in the bloodline with FDR, who was on the Christian Mayflower out of fucking Holland. And I've been surrounded by Dutch people for the last 2 months. Yeah, all of them come here on holiday just to have a look at the man, yeah, who, like you, is exposing the world's biggest secrets. And it's really risky to do it, which is why I got in touch with you today, because I have no way of getting the Prince Harry stories into the public eye unless I have someone to back me up.
This is going to go viral, George. Don't forget, Senior Master Fontaine has threatened a restraining order on me. Now, I've got inside information from a lady who's worked for the judiciary for 45 years.
So the Fontaine joke...
That Senior Judge Fontaine is as bent as a corkscrew.
So the Fontaine is the fountain joke, and that is the religious joke, that the fountains are all around the Christian cathedrals and the place of residence of Pope Benedict once he's packed up, because you and I reveal all of the crimes of Blackfriar Bridge, and in my recent videos it's all related to Bavarian Austria and Switzerland. And
George, I was at Blackfriars Bridge 2 days ago, inside Blackfriars Crown Court, and I've got some more stamp proofs done there. Funny coincidence. Because what we've done, we've had all our evidence stamp proof at Royal Courts of Justice, Blackfriars Court, Lewis Crown Court, and various others. 10 copies of each, just in case they lose any.
Yeah. So, do you understand the magnitude of the profiteering in World War I and World War?
It's just beyond. Look, I can grasp it, but people that are listening to this for the first time are going to have to go back and have a look at your work, George, on your website.
So let me cite that page that they've blocked the pictures of nude Prince Harry. And if you go to the bottom of that page, there still is a hyperlink that will open up all of the crimes against Queen Victoria. She lived in a place called Esher, and it is the place where Clive of India died. Yeah, it's her favourite place because the Rothschilds cannot get at her there. And I'm now looking on the page, sitesgoogle.com, site Prof George Lee's Revelations / Jack the Ripper Grapes, HRH, QE2, Colditz, Shipman, NHS killings. Yeah, I've got a picture of Colditz Castle and Ednam House Hotel in my hometown, where the Brookses run it. Yeah, right next door to them I've got a picture of Hannah Mary Brookdale, née Rothschild, who is the person that is fond of Tony Blair's war criminals in Iraq. You've seen the videos, her proclaiming that. She has, as a profiteering bitch, all of Jesus' holy relics in the massive mansion that is Wadston. Yeah. And they entertained the royal monarchy, and the royal monarchy broke its ankle when they fell off her banister in Wadston. Yeah, God is more powerful than them, and most of the people that went to Colditz as profiteers with their Batman with them. Do you understand the Batman joke? Have I told you that before?
Yes, yeah.
So that is for Blackadder, it is Baldric, and the Baldric is the over-the-shoulder strap that all of them use when they get their medals and they come home from the war to become Lord this, that and the other. So that's Lady Hannah Mary Brookdale. Lord Brookdale, if you look him up on the internet anywhere, is totally undetectable. There are no pictures. She has 3 female children, and I believe that she is the good person in the marriage. Yeah. I have no idea where he came from. Yeah, and it's been totally suppressed. And my other greatest hero in life is a woman who's the ex-Duke of Roxburgh. You remember the 39 Steps film and the stories I've told about that?
Yeah.
So that is the Buckins of Tweedsmuir, who now live in the Havens with Richard Branson and Ian Fleming and Sean Connery. Yeah, Lady Jane Grosvenor. That's the Grosvenors that are the Dukes of Westminster and
Are we talking about, because there's a Grosvenor Square in London.
That's right, yeah.
And there's a set of hotels called the Grosvenor Hotels.
Yeah.
Well, one of the directors of Grosvenor Hotels is a judge, and my mother used to work for Grosvenor Hotels. That's another story. We'll come back to that.
Well, it's all of the stuff that you're telling me about the frauds of Tony Blair and his successor, yet linking to Bernie Ecclestone, the Duke of Westminster, who is the sister of Lady Jane Grosvenor. She's a great hero, she's a populist, but her new name, yeah, is a joke about the 39 steps. She's Lady Jane Donny, and that is the Donny that got on the clock face. It's all a massive piss take. Yeah. You remember the 39 Steps movie where he has to...
Yes, that's going back.
And she's a director on all the war dead things, all the schools here that teach the elite fascists how to do things. Yeah, and she's the first person that's married to the Duke of Roxburgh. Yeah, and all of the folk that are the Dukes of Buccleuch, even rugby players like Mike Bigger, who I played against, he's an amputee, and his dad was in Colditz, and he's an amputee. Yeah, God gets them all in the end, which is why David Murray is friends with Sean Connery in the colonies, and why he's an amputee too. He has got all of his money in Auckland, where Hannah Mary Brookdale, yeah, has all of her money from the Iraq War. I've got the director numbers, yeah, and all of that is run out of Lothian Road, who Gordon Bowden told me about.
Yes.
But the crimes of the Rothschild Trust are massive, and Hannah Mary Rothschild, who's tried to have me convicted for harassment for revealing these truths by the Charing Cross police, yeah, she's the director on all of those things, and a company called RIT that engages and privatises all of the British assets. And do you know what the real name of the Duke of Wellington at Waterloo is? Because this is one of Gordon Bowden and Peter Eyre's dark secrets.
It wasn't Rothermere, was it?
No, it is Lord. So the Duke of Wellington is Wellesley Wood.
Okay.
Yeah, in the Gordon Bowden story, Wellesley Wood is the man that runs the murders in Australia. Yeah, and the mining frauds. He is the Duke.
Oh, is this a guy called Kibble?
No, it's Wesley Wood. He gives
okay.
Yeah, he's actually the Duke of fucking Wellington, and he's Irish. And that is the Battle of Waterloo that leads to the celebration by ABBA of the selling of the central bank in London, run by Nathan Mayer Rothschild, which has turned the world to a colour movie. Yeah, do you get it? That is stealing of the Bank of England, and all of the videos I've made since I stopped talking to you. The French royals are massive fascists too. Both of them claim to be the French politicians. So Hollande, who had the massive lightning storm on his plane when he went to visit Miss Merkel for the first time, he had to turn around and touch down again in Paris. He and his wife, Ségolène Royal, are massive mobsters. They have shares and massive directorships in the European Development Bank, which is run in Cheapside. Do you know where that is in this story?
It's in Temple Place, isn't it?
Where Jack the fucking Ripper murders were, and where the current Bank of England is run by the Canadian. Do you know what his salary is?
Oh, it's over £1 million plus.
Yeah, so well, I thought it was 800,000, but that was about.
Well, plus they get bonuses. And
he gets 250 grand housing allowance. Do you know what the joke about Carney is?
Carney.
Yeah.
Go on.
He's a Rothschild of Carnival.
Yes.
Yeah, right next door to Kissingen in Rothschild Tyrol. Yeah, and that is the film made by, you remember I told you that Omar Sharif is a bridge player with my old boss Dr. Jones in Dunedin. Omar Sharif, in the film The Last Valley about Tring, where the Rothschilds have that residence, all of the places it's absolutely sickening. So the Last Valley, they rape and pillage everybody, and can you guess which Cockney played the role of the Holy Roman Emperor from Germany?
Which Cockney?
Mon Imes.
Oh, Michael Caine.
Yes, yes. Yeah, the Zulu Wars, and you should watch it. All of them are massive, massive jokes. And are the heavens heavenly in your region now?
Well, the sun's out. It's been, the rain has been atrocious, but
you should see the cloud patterns here, tiny little cirrus stuff. And we should do this more often. Yeah, it's just that the Royals are so powerful, and all of their media interlocks. That's why I'm so down on Hislop. When you look at Hislop and they had teams of 4 people, and Hislop was in it all the time in the quiz game. What was it called?
Oh, have I got news for you?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
So when you look at the death of the Lib Dem people, and I forget what the Lib Dem. Who's the Lib Dem who died really young about a year ago?
I can't remember, George.
He tells a story on Have I Got News For You about Tony Blair's fish, and you know that the fish is the penis in world history.
Yeah.
So Tony Blair's fish hangs on the wall, and when anybody says in the corridors of power that is the House of Parliament or the House of Lords, and we know all about the laundering from both of those, and we've got all the director numbers, when anybody says, have you seen what Tony's got on the fish on his wall, and have you been there recently, that is a sad indictment that you're part of the knowledge that the fish is the penis. So the Lib Dem that told that story on Have I Got News For You was dead within 3 months.
Fantastic.
And that is the joke. That is the joke about the Have I Got News For You movies that are the Up Pompeii movie, and all of the characters that were in that. You remember the Snatch comedies?
Oh, Frankie Howell.
So Bootsy and Snudge, they are the.
Yes, Alfie Bass and who was the other?
So Alfie Bass plays Arius Calpurnius Piso in the movie that is Up Pompeii, and that's about the Piso Villa Papyri being exploded on, and all of that is the man Hislop, who you're dependent upon to get the news out.
I'm not dependent on anybody. What we're doing, we're providing evidence, and by the way they obfuscate the evidence, we expose them. The same way I exposed George Galloway MP. You know, when I sent George Galloway MP the evidence, he said he would shout it from the rooftops, and he's done nothing, George. And that's how you find them out.
Do you know what Galloway is a cover for in world history?
Go on.
You should listen to my videos on the lineages that take you into the Queen's loins, and all of the crimes of the Rothschilds in recent years. The dynasties that rule the world still are directly related to Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman Emperor, was the first man in the world to start launching the print runs of the real Bible.
Right.
And he is the great grandson of Arius Calpurnius Piso. That's the fish on Tony Blair's office wall. And that is why all of them die young when they take the piss out of it, because the gods never get a mention in religion now. The god, if you read it backwards in Hebrew, you know how you have to read Hebrew text from right to left?
Yes.
So the cleverest Rothschild family tree that I've found is written in fucking Hebrew, so no one can understand who the criminals are. And I only just found that this week. But when you read God backwards, you get the song about George and Renee Magritte walking their God after the war. Yeah, the humans have totally taken over the role of the gods in the heavens.
Yes.
And it is absolutely sickening. And all of that, you know, the Virgin Mary and all the things that happen, the massive massacres that are the desecration of the host. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
So that's the killing of Jews all across the continent of Europe since the launch of that, round about the 8th or 9th centuries AD. Yeah, that's when Christianity gets into England, and then when it gets into Ireland, it becomes the Paisley Abbey, and that is Ian Paisley and all the sectarian violence. And I think we might have talked about that before we had the fallout.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the Pi Piso joke right through world history. Yeah, and I'm living on the estate that is Pinnacle Hill Park. To cover that up, they had to call it Pendicle Hill Park because it's got the Pi Pistorius trial, all the PI words that are the covers for the news. Yeah, and all the pop singers that sing about it, Katy Perry, and even Michael Ancram was the man that had that Chinook crashed. He's a local. I talk to him all the time now because he's got a massive conscience, and he's married to the Duchess of Arundel. Yeah, that's right next to you along the coast.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
And that is the people that are in. You remember we talked a lot about the Thomas More film and the beheading and the role of Cromwell, and the Cromwell that had the pound, shilling and pence sign round his neck.
Yes.
Yeah, that is one of the most powerful Piso lineages of the lot. They are the marshals, and that is the marshals in law enforcement in America. And you know already that the corrupted police, yeah, with the exceptions of the people that you're talking to, and I met a lovely one I'd love to spend the rest of my life with the one I met on the weekend. Yeah, she was at the God Show, and she was the most innocent person there. When she left, they had a massive rainstorm, but she told me that the Police Scotland are totally asset stripped. And when I asked her, do you understand the appointment of the man Gormley, who's become the head of the United Force, to replace the corrupted the Stephen House? Yeah, he's a massive mobster. He's totally asset stripped Scottish policing already, trained with Tony Blair at the school that is Fettes. Yeah, and all of it has been asset stripped. So the one that is now replaced House as the head of the United Forces, a massive asset stripping. All of the police properties have been sold off for private interest, and that's Lord Condon. You know all about him.
Yeah.
G4S boss.
G4S, George, the last time I checked, they were, because they're just up the road from here, they were in a toxic debt of 1.3 billion. It's gone up to 1.5 billion. G4S.
Yeah, so have you looked at the Lloyds Banking Group toxic debt?
Not recently.
Yeah, it's a fucking massive scandal. And they buy Sainsbury's into that in 2002. Yeah, and all of it is just everybody that is responsible for the running of our country and its fiscal and economic issues, they are just mafias.
Yeah.
And you understand that, and Gordon understood that, and Gordon was a bit down on me because I had used his methods, but I now understand how to read the whole of the global ownership of all of the global businesses, and I've got all the websites for that. Yeah, that's why the Brexit thing is such a scandal. It's small beer. It's just to take the minds and eyes off the attention of what the corrupted governments in every country are now doing out of the English speaking world. Yeah,
well, the guy, the hero, the so-called hero that went to rescue Joe Cox, they just found out he died 3 years ago.
Do you know what that's covered?
The whole thing was a hoax.
That's false news to cover Brian. Brian Cox is the Chancellor at Dundee University.
Yeah.
He plays in the Braveheart movie the Duke of Argyll. So he's Argyll, comes riding in on his horse, and the whole thing is the same globalism joke. I met Ariana Huffington and a body double for her at the dog show on the weekend. Yeah, that's the employer of Noam Chomsky. All the socialists are false socialists. That is the Marx and Engels were paid to be socialists by the Rothschild family, and they were trained like Stalin and Hitler in Britain to steal the whole world from its local people. Yeah, and that's the last Valley joke, and it's absolutely tragic. And you've got such a clear understanding of it now. But what I've done in the last year is to move away, and I've become more scholarly.
Good.
Yeah, and less involved in making interviews that reveal the scandals one by one. And I can now explain the whole ownership. Brexit and Meccano are regions in the Alps.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know who owns the Alps, and you know who runs the World Economic Forum. Yeah, all of it is the same people, and all of them are the prime ministers. And why did Harold Wilson smoke a pipe? And why was he, as a socialist, the founder of the Bilderberg movement? Do you think
Harold Wilson and Edward Heath were both DVD agents?
What is that?
No, there were several.
What's DVD?
It's a German black ops operation. It's called Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst. I can't pronounce it properly, but Greg Hallett used to speak about it.
Yeah.
The shortened abbreviation is the DVD. Now, I'll tell you who else exposed it, was Christopher Story, just before they poisoned him.
I've never heard of him. I'll have to...
This is all your Project Paperclip, and all the Germans that
oh, yeah. So
passports, and they set up the CIA.
When I talked to...
Sorry?
I talked to Field McConnell. We had a 2-hour-long interview about 10 months ago.
Good.
And at the end of it, he promised to interview me fortnightly because of the sensational revelations I was making. Yeah, and he told me about the Goulding issue in 1945 that led to the killing of one of the double agents. And now do you know who Prince Harry, who's not allowed to be depicted naked anywhere, is dating?
Oh, who he's dating now?
Yeah. I've just told you about the war crimes in 1945 and the killing of the loyalist. So who's he dating now?
Go on.
Goulding. Ellie Goulding. How Long Will I Love You? The Aryan blonde bimbo singer is now dating Prince Harry, and that's why all of our censorship is happening. That's why you've...
Are these related to the Goldsmiths? Like Zach Goldsmith?
No, they are related to the Goldsmiths of Munich that are in the Munich Lodge, yeah, and in the Frankfurt Lodge, and
yes.
that is Max Goldsmith, massive mobster, and all of those people emerge from the lodge. They go to different continents, like the relatives of Ike, the president. Yeah, Ike the president named his son Ike, and he was dead at age 3. Yeah, Tony Blair, you know about the prime ministerial deaths in Britain?
There's been loads, isn't there?
Yeah, everybody that steals from the world loses their limbs, loses their faculties, and becomes insane. And all of the people that are in the Blackadder team, like Stephen Fry, they get incidental episodes of mental health issues.
Yes.
All of it is in the control of the gods. All of the pathologies. I would never thought I would say that as a professor of drug science, but now I'm more fearful of getting in the way of the gods and doing things that they do not want to happen.
Well, I see more and more proof of it, George. I'll be honest with you. There's something out there that's doing something, you know.
And you know, the fact that the press are allowed, I don't know how the press get any satisfaction.
Oh, how do they sleep at night, George?
Yeah, well, have you heard of the man that was killed in Hertfordshire? I forget what his name was. When I lived in Tring, where we were married, that's the last Valley joke about Christianity and the massive massacres. Yeah, Trins it's called in that movie. Yeah, there was Sean Hoare was murdered by Murdoch's regime. Yeah, have you heard of Sean Hoare?
I haven't.
So look him up on the internet.
Yeah,
he was the one that was the last person in the British press to try and get the truth out, and he was topped. Yeah, they accused him of drinking himself to death. Yeah, but he was top.
Yeah, of course.
It's just amazing. And in that town that is Tring, the whores were the bell ringers at the False Christian Church, and she fancied me. It's quite a rare thing. Yeah, and that is likely to be the same bloodline. It's just amazing. The whole thing is like, you remember the Subutio football game that we all used to play when we were young?
The Subutio? What's that?
Yeah, you had little football players on little plinths.
Oh, those things.
And you used to flick it with your finger.
Of course. And
the whole of it is likened to the global chess game, which is why my mate David Jones plays bridge with Omar Sharif. Omar Sharif is the man that is the ruthless Arab in Lawrence of Arabia, and you know all of those jokes already.
Didn't correct me if I'm wrong, George, didn't Nigel Farage turn up as an extra in Lawrence of Arabia?
Yeah, so there are two homosexuals that are friends of Lawrence of Arabia, and they are called Farage and Dodi. And Dodi, you know about him.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is the launch of the Independence Party, and that's the same joke as listening to Ian Hislop. It's all just a fucking belly laugh for them. Yeah, because all of the decisions are still made behind locked doors.
The thing is, George, now this is the thing. Now that these people know that we know what they're up to, and they're keeping this information from the public, they know that they're going to suffer the same consequences of all these other people. I mean, they have to live with this guilt, stress.
Knowledge is the real...
It's the stress, it's the most harmful thing to the immune system.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all got their backs to the wall. That's why Lord Paterson has never been heard of since 2014.
Yeah,
he's the massive mobster at the Hong Kong Honkers and Shonkers Bank.
Yeah.
And that is just... Do you know what the power base is in the Hudson's Bay Company?
Well, you're going back to the British East India Company.
No, that's the fucking Rothschilds again. Yeah.
Well, of course. Yeah.
But do you know who the characters are that lead the Hudson's Bay Company? That's the HSBC. It's the HBC. Do you get that?
Well, the HSBC was launched.
And Phil McConnell's
by David Cameron's great.
Yeah. All of us know that. But Phil McConnell.
Oh, no, but there's people listening for the first time that this is going to be shocking, George.
So Phil McConnell understands all of the drones stories, and he flies drones, which are old aeroplanes that have been scrapped and they're used as drones, in wartime. But he uses them to train. And when I told him the Mike Tyndall stories online, he went absolutely ballistic. You understand all of those, and you're still in touch with him. But who was the name of the man that was the Nazi in the Sound of Music film?
Oh, gosh.
Herr Zeller. They run Hudson's Bay Company for the Rothschilds, for a laugh, out of fucking Austria, where all of them come from. Yeah, and the others, and all of my colleagues in the town, I'm related to the Taylors of Canada, and they for a while were the owners of the Hudson's Bay Company. That's why I'm getting the news out about Rio Tinto, because that is my wife's treasonous family. That is Lang Hancock's, and the Rothschilds get him to run it for them, get his widow to appear on the Forbes rich list. They pay no taxes, and they launched the ownership of that company the same year as we were in Khartoum, brutalising the whole of South Africa. And that is the Nile River of Blood joke. And Nile means Piso, and was the Pishon before they had to change it. You remember those stories?
Yeah, it's going back, isn't it?
Shall we stop there and
George, I've got an hour and 10 minutes on this memory card, and we're up to an hour.
Let's start.
I wanted to wrap it up, and then we'll do some more stuff on this, because there's too much to come out in one go.
Yeah, well, I've taped the whole thing and I'll put it online. Yeah. But because of that image of, can you make several declarations on the social media that the images of the naked Prince Harry have been systematically suppressed. Murdoch's allowed to publish them when the time is right for their cover-ups, but none of the people are allowed to reuse them to show them that the illegitimacy of the monarchy. So that page that I've sent you, if you go to the bottom of it, you get pictures. So it's got the banned by Facebook images that were published by the royal fraudsters in Murdoch's and Berlusconi's papers. It's now just a thumbnail. There is no image there. And the next thing is persecution in the royal bedchamber, how the Rothschilds have taken over the world, and you're still allowed to see that. Yeah, so that is Queen Victoria and all of the rape and pillaging things. I've just turned it on my computer. Yeah, that is the treason that is Chipping Norton, where my wife comes from. She chose to desert me when the government prompted for it, and that is why David Cameron is in such a sad position, because he drinks with them in the Chipping Norton set. Yeah, it's all of them are cabal. You understand all of the members of that? Ronnie
set, of course.
Ronnie Corbett, the two Ronnies, is a joke about the same region in the Tyrol. It's the Rhone region, the two Rhonies.
And what's Ronnie Barker's middle name?
Oh, I don't know what. Ronnie Balfour Corbett is.
They're Balfours.
And he died. All of them are caving in. Yeah, and his family were the Balfours of my estate. Yet he lived for a lot of the time when he was a child on the same farm that I was brought up in. And I talked to Lady Mary, and I've talked to William Balfour. They're really decent people. Yeah, and all of the people that did the partitioning of Israel are the Balfours that now live in fucking Arundel. Yeah, with the Dukes of Norfolk and the masters of the Piso horse. And they are the Vestes of Latin America. That is the Vestes that fled to Australia and fled to Latin America, and they become the fascists and the hosts for all of Hitler's friends, who then become the narcotics runners with the American presidents and the triumvirate led by Prince Philip. And you know all of those stories too.
Yeah,
it's amazing how scholarly you are. You're just an ordinary Cockney person like Michael fucking Caine. Yeah, and all of it is absorbable by the ordinary people, and when they absorb it, they then understand, like the policewomen I met on the weekend, why their fucking pensions and their salaries are frozen and totally worthless. You know all about Gordon Bowden's revelations on the Ponzi schemes in Lothian Road. All of those people that run Lothian 50 and Cairn Energy, they have no product. It's just a fraud and a coupon. And that is the future of our country, and that is Cameron's biggest crime. You remember how I used to condone Cameron's activity, because everywhere where we were at war under Blair, he pulled out of. Yeah, but that's the end of it, because if you really turn on the Rothschilds and the world's financiers, then you're dead in a ditch like all of the war grave victims. It's true.
Thanks for that, George.
No, I'm quite prepared to meet my maker, but all of my kids now are in a massive debt pool, and that is government policy. It's a fucking huge crime against the people, and it's global. Which is why Ariana Huffington, Noam Chomsky's employer, is in my hometown. It's just amazing.
It's beyond. I'm always gobsmacked after these talks, George. I've got a few minutes left on this. Shall we wrap it up? And I want to get this posted on YouTube and Facebook.
We've gone for 60 minutes, which is good. If you make them too long, the public lose their attention.
Exactly.
So just let me close, and I'll scan down and I'll show you what we're allowed to publish. Yeah, but when you try and get Rupert Murdoch's revelations about how the royals demean themselves to make the false news, that's Princess Victoria, later Queen Victoria, sired a child with a legitimate prince, legal age for UK marriage, 12 years. Yeah, that's the child of blind Prince George at Cumbria and Teviotdale, and she's the first woman, yeah, when she marries the poof, Albert. Did you know that Albert is Albrecht in the movies? yeah, about the Valkyrie. That's Albrecht and the lining them up and shooting down the people that tried to kill Hitler Rothschild. Yeah, Albrecht means Albert. Yeah, the history of the illegitimate British monarchy. I'm allowed to publish that for year after year after year. Stalin Rothschild, Hitler Rothschild, Winston Churchill, the father of Bill Clinton. Do you understand the Bill Clinton little blue dress joke? When Monica Lewinsky got the...
Yes, of course, with the stain. Yeah.
And what was the stain shaped as? That's
it was a two, like the rabbit's ears.
Yeah, it's a rabbit signal. That is Lagos of Macedonia, and that is St. John in the Bible. Yeah, it's Iago, Lagos, and it is all of the Arsenal jokes are the Arsenos that are the pharaohs, and that bloodline is the most murderous bloodline in world history. That's why they own the whole world, and I'm not allowed to show pictures of them naked that they published to cover their own sins. Shall we stop there?
Fantastic stuff, George.
Thanks, John.
What I'm going to do is just going to switch this camera off now, and we'll just talk a bit, because I want to get this up as soon as possible.
Okay, shall I stop?
Right, that's mine off, George. It's brilliant, mate. What I'm going to do is download it now and post it, and then, because you see, once I've got so many followers now, George, I bet none of them have heard of any of your stuff, because I've been busy with my own stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I spent 3 weeks in prison, mate, and while I was in prison, I was phoned up every Thursday from Press TV, and I've been on Press TV 4 times, George.
What is that again? Who runs that?
Press TV.
Was that the thing that used to be run by the American presidential candidate?
No, Press TV, it used to be on the Sky platform, but they were telling so much evidence on the monarchy that they took it off.
Right.
But it's gotten out, it's all over the world. They called me 5 times in a row. But
do you remember all the stories? Who was the woman that you used to refer me to all the time about? She's a glamorous blonde, and she worked for one of the news release agencies that you talk to all the time. She became my Skype friend, and I discovered all of the new stuff about Princess Kate. Yeah, I was. Did you know that I was at university with Princess Kate's mum?
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, her name was Caroline. She fancied me. I rejected her advances because she was already married. And her husband, if you look carefully at the cast in The Vicar of Dibley, her husband is the man that plays the stammering idiot in the administration team. It's just a massive set of actors, and you must realise as an intelligent man that Corbyn, that heads the Labour Party now, is...
He's a Fabian. We know all about...
He's the same fucking actor that played David Kelly. Look at him in the eyes. And
yes, of course.
And Nick Clegg, what has Nick Clegg done since he was taken from power? What has he become in the world owning team?
I don't know, George.
He is the ancestor now of Lord Lucan, and he's inherited all of its assets.
Really?
Look at the fucking images. It's the same people. King Juan Carlos, yeah, is an actor, and he pretended for a while until I was on it, and I've republished it and they've rectified it. He plays the little redhead that presents Radio 2 in the morning after Zoe Ball has presented it. I forget his name. He's an absolute bimbo, like the man that is in Hislop. Yeah. Yeah, and King Juan Carlos is the same actor that plays him. And King Juan Carlos, in all the Greg Hallett stories, is the sire of Prince Harry. No, that's James Hewitt. Yeah, that's why. Yes. That's why Harry's got a big willy. Yeah. And why he's not got big ears like Greg Hallett described for Prince Charles, his father, in inverted commas. I'm still taping this, but it's going to run out any second.
Oh, that's good, because I wish I'd had more time left on mine.
I'm delighted to be back on board, and if you can help publicise it, yeah, I'll let...
This is going to go out, George. I'll try and get it up on the 8th of Angels. website.
What used to irk me a little bit was that all of your mates used to post on, can you leave my timeline alone? Yeah, and let them...
George, do you know you've got settings? You can adjust your settings so that nobody can put stuff on your timeline.
Some of it I like to receive because some of it is stunningly new, and I've got new friends in Scandinavia that are letting a whole lot out. Yeah, did you know that the Swedish were the biggest killers in the 30 Years' War?
Yeah.
And they're the most civilised people in the world now. But Lord, fucking Prince Philip is a massive mobster. His parents were both women, and it's really complicated. But he's the Prince of Denmark, he's the Prince of Greece, and he's the Prince of Milford fucking Haven, which is the Greg Hallett stories about Putin and who was the actor that You'd Better Shape Up song? You better shape up,
yeah.
'Cause I need a man.
John Travolta.
So he was a spy, and since I released all that information, it's been published for 4 years on my website, he has now become a cross-dressing homosexual. And all of that gets hundreds of hits for me,
yeah.
But if you were to publish it, we'd get thousands of hits in the same week. Look on my YouTube website, and you can refer to any of those things. Just look at the topics, yeah, and the thumbnails for my videos. So that is the intel operation, and he became untouchable because he's directly in touch with Princess Diana, that was taken down by Prince Philip, and all of that was told me by Greg Hallett, and he was taken down in 2012 when he called it an interregnum, and it made it sound as if he was winning, but that was the period in which they killed him. And when I talked to Jim Fetzer for the whole of the year afterwards, and every time we talked I said, have you heard from Greg Hallett and what's become of him? No, both of us believe that he's topped. Yeah, and then suddenly the new guy appears talking about totally different themes with this different accent, yeah. And all of it is just swallowed by the punters. But I'm delighted that you remember Greg's stories, because when you look at the history,
I'll tell you what, the fraudster, and it had to be a fraudster, he started following me on Facebook, like Greg Hallett, whoever he was.
Yeah, and he
was telling everyone that I was a 44th Brigade Army troll, and I was a transvestite, and I thought, well, why would you make yourself sound that stupid?
Yeah, I got the same thing. I had my bollocks hanging down at my running shorts, and he published it and made a joke about it, but he pretended that he went to Kelso High School. Yeah, and all of the teachers here are now deeply implicated in that. All of the mafia families that I've discovered, Zoe Ball, that presented the Radio 2 thing at 9 o'clock in the morning, that's the Ball mafias. Yeah, all of them are massive mobsters, and all of my friends are from those families, and now they're ever so sheepish. So my best friend in life when I was a child was Gordon Watson, and there is a Watson mafia too, and he's the one that I coerced into proclaiming that Greg Hallett never worked at Kelso High School. Yeah, he's unfriended me all sorts of ways, and his brother lives in New Zealand, and all of it is quite shocking. Yeah, and all of the affiliations of Todds and Mortons, that's Uncle Desmond Morton, all of them are warmongers, and all of the people are in my hometown, and the number of people that are in the world's story that live in my own estate, it's just astounding. They know that I was going to come and do this, yeah, and I don't know how they read the future, but for a time I was a Skypey friend of the bimbo that is Gwyneth Paltrow.
Really?
And, yeah, all of them. She's had to divorce because I told all of that story about Chris Martin, her husband, at Coldplay, being privy to the Christianity secret, and Chris Martin was on the Mayflower, and he's the man who taught them how to use a gun, yeah, as the Pilgrim Fathers, to eliminate the 500 nations in America. Yeah, it's fucking massive. And now she sells vaginal douches.
Oh.
And she's in the Lord of the Rings film as the person that can, and all of the other divorces I've created. Have you heard of Faith Hill?
No.
She sings beautiful songs about being there in wartime in Pearl Harbor, and her husband was Tim McGraw. McGraw Hill are a massive financial fraud in America. That's the launch of all of the pop groups into our world, and that's why Ellie Goulding is now dating Prince Harry.
Wow.
It's endless, and everything that the innocents do, get them in jail for 3 months, or they get them almost sectioned. But I've published so much now that they dare not do it.
Yeah, that's your biggest protection, just expose them, George.
So, thank you for your time. Is that worthwhile? Can we do it more regularly?
Yeah, listen, I've got an hour of this. But what I'll do is, when I processed it, I'll put your link, put the links to your website in your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then I'll make this viral. Okay.
And have a little look at the bottom of that page, and you'll see that nowhere on the website now is there a video of Quentin Bryce having that massive joke about her country's war dead.
Okay.
Yeah, at the opening of the London Olympics. All of those videos have been taken down, like the video of Dr. Ian Fingland persecuting me as one of the world's most informed men like you, yeah, for my knowledge and my capacity to release it to the free world. There is no free world, but if you and I start working together again, we can create one.
The thing is, when they delete these videos, the good news is that, you know, people that have listened to a few of these videos,
yeah, the loyalists begin to see it.
Put the dots together.
Yeah.
You understand?
God bless, John. Thank you ever so much.
George. We'll speak soon, my friend.
Okay, cheers. Bye bye.
Bye, mate.